Hello everyone, and welcome to my channel. I hope you're all doing well and are staying safe and healthy. I'm uploading twice this weekend because I need to do something other than sit around on YouTube on my super slow Wi-Fi. I could be doing work, but I absolutely refuse. I'll get to it eventually, but today is not that day XOXO. By the way, the videos shown are not related to the opinions being stated unless explicitly told. Anyways, let's go. Stop saying you're disappointed in a debut when it is literally just the debut. This is their first ever song to introduce themselves, so why you quote-unquote expect more from a group that just released music is beyond me. Why are your standards so high? Why do you think they're going to release the best song of the decade just from their debut song? I know that the debut song is vital to pulling in new fans and people who may be interested, but you guys take this all or nothing standard to a whole other level. It's like if only 70 or 80% of people like the debut, then you guys call it a flop. If 90 or more % of people like it, then you guys like to call it overrated. These groups have only now popped into the scene and some people don't have years of experience like others, not to mention that they just debuted. I know I'm repeating myself, but you guys act like these are comebacks rather than a first song. Stop hating on the quote-unquote privileged idols. The idols have no say in whether or not they will be treated better than their fellow members or the rest of the groups in the company. You all act like they all sat in a room, discussed who was going to be the privileged one, and then got up and agreed that the others would be put on the back burner. It makes zero sense. Since I'm more so a casual K-pop stan than I am a devoted fan, the only person that immediately comes to mind is Jennie from Blackpink, and I don't understand why people don't like her just because she is the quote-unquote privileged one. That wasn't her choice. I'm not a Blink and I know close to nothing about them other than some of their songs and all of their names, so before you try to say that I'm some overprotective Blink, just know that I'm stating this from a place of pure curiosity as to why the one who gets more privileges are hated rather than the people who chose to choose a specific member to bias. Staying away from a group simply because of the fandom is valid. I'm sorry to say this, but for the longest time, I have refused to call myself an ARMY because of how embarrassing it is to be associated with them. I still don't call myself an ARMY because I'm not really that invested in BTS outside of their great music, but my point still stands. I am completely aware of the fact that not all ARMYs are toxic and annoying, but a good chunk of them are, and it makes me scared to even say that I like BTS because I don't want to automatically be associated with the bad ones, no matter how hard I try to stay calm or positive. While I'm not a part of any fandom because I'm really only in it for the music, I think when people say that they don't really want to bother with a group due to the fandom is a valid thing to feel. A lot of people refuse to get into BTS, Blackpink, Luna, and others because ARMYs and Blinks, or Blonks, and the others can be very weird and irritating, and to be honest, I know that's unfair to the group as they have no control over their fandom, and the group is a separate entity from their fandom, but it definitely does damage the group's reputation if their fandom is seen as mostly toxic. Have you seen the things done and said by fandoms? It is absolutely mind-boggling. I'm sure if the groups or companies could do something about the issue they would, but sadly they cannot, and therefore I think that is an issue I do not believe will be resolved anytime soon. Female idols should be seen wearing pants more. Or at least they should be given pants when it's very cold. I've seen clips of female idols shivering and hovering together because they had to wear dresses or skirts that usually don't even reach their knees, and it makes my blood boil. Right next to them I see male idols with pants and long jackets on, and I don't see them trying to huddle together because they're literally freezing. They may be cold, but you can tell they aren't as cold as their female counterparts. At first I wasn't going to call this sexist, but then I realized that yes, this is in fact sexist. Why do stylists think that because they are females, they have to wear dresses and skirts all the time even when they know for a damn fact that it's super cold? Why do you dress the male idols appropriately but the female idols like it's 90 degrees outside? Do you think that women and girls have a higher tolerance of the cold? Why are you prioritizing how cute or sexy they look over how cold they'll get? Get out of here. If you pretend to be in a fandom just to make the others within the different fandom look bad, you are a bad person, and that's just the facts. Why are you going out of your way to waste time and make other fandoms look like they're toxic when you could just mind your own business and stay in your own fandom? It makes no sense, and it just shows how much K-pop fans will go through just to put people against others and try to seem like the quote-unquote better fandom. And people who are open about it deserve to get their accounts taken away or blocked, because you're trying to be toxic in another fandom to make your group and fandom look better when in reality, you just look like a self-absorbed clown. Do something productive, please. Actually no, I take my please back. That was a demand. Unstanning a group is perfectly fine and you don't need to justify yourself. Those who say if you unstan because of this and that then you were never a stan in the first place are immature and need to go sit down somewhere. There are many reasons as to why people unstan a group, and people don't need to explain themselves to you just because you are still a stan yourself. It could be because they are bored of the group and therefore don't find any reason to keep going with them, a scandal, the fandom, and amongst others. If you were a stan and now you've unstanned someone, you are still a stan and no one can take that away from you. Don't let others bully you into thinking that you weren't invested in a group just because you grew out of them or they did something you didn't like. Those are your opinions and feelings and you are entitled to them. There are no rules to being a stan. Those who gatekeep fandoms are one of the main reasons no one likes K-pop fandoms. You're embarrassing yourselves. I do not need to know every single person in the group's stage name and real name. I do not need to know their birthdays. I do not need to know what they like to eat. I do not need to know what all of their favorite colors are. I need to know none of that. If you know all of that, good for you, and I'm glad you found the time to memorize all of that information. Stanning is about liking the group because of the music, and if you want to stan the members too, that's just plus. You can stan a group only because of their music, and that's okay. You don't need to pick a bias or all that other stuff. If you're not interested in learning about the members or their personal lives, then that's perfectly fine, because like I said, it's about the music, not knowing what each member is about to paint their nails next week. Don't let fans with superiority complexes make you feel as if you need to put the group above your needs and hygiene just to remember something ultimately pointless. I don't know the groups I like birthdays, favorite colors, favorite meals, and I barely know the roles they play in the group, but that does not make me any less of a stan. If you disagree with this, then it's probably because you're a fan with a superiority complex and you aren't welcomed here on this channel if you think you're better than everyone else. 2020 was low-key full of flops. I don't know what it was, but it was so hard for me to keep myself invested in any songs in 2020, and that doesn't even pertain to just K-pop alone. Everything felt empty and pumped out, but I'm just going to blame that one on the 2020 curse. Monster by Seulgi and Irene was overhyped. It's a good song and I do play it from time to time, but I don't think the song was superior to anything. It was a good filler to pass the time and keep us some company for the time being, but other than that it was simply just fine. It definitely wasn't bad, but it was far from the greatest thing ever. More and More by Twice deserved better. You all slept on that shit, especially when I Can't Stop Me dropped, and I am so disappointed. It wasn't the best song ever, but you all made it seem like a filler song when it wasn't, in my opinion. Maybe it's because More and More had more of a chill vibe compared to I Can't Stop Me, but I really liked More and More. I kind of prefer idols who are superior in one or two things rather than those who are quote-unquote all-rounders and are mediocre or just somewhere around average in all areas. I want to see people do things they excel in and can give me full-course meals instead of people who are just good in everything and give me snacks. And people who are all-rounders aren't automatically better than those who aren't. I don't get the hype of streaming for millions and millions of views. I just really don't get why people force people to stream, especially when the views are gonna get deleted because of the bot-like behavior, which is streaming the same thing over and over again on the same devices and never stopping, and not even taking a break or sleeping. It makes no sense to me. Why everything is about numbers is so childish to me, and you all only care about topping the charts instead of the actual quality of the music and production, it seems. I get that you want your favs to be at the top and support them, but I'm not going to stream or like your favs' music just because you tell me to stream. Then at that point it's not about who had the better music, it's just about who had the highest numbers, which defeats the purpose of actually trying to make good music, because your fans are just going to try their best to get you at the top even if what you make might be trash. Appreciate the idol's works for once and enjoy what they give you. Inspire them to do better, not to tear them down about their numbers. And by the way, there are things that are top sellers that don't have a lot of views and things that didn't sell as much but have a lot of views, so really, numbers mean close to nothing. That's all I have for today. This one was a little bit rushed because I literally compiled these opinions in like an hour, so I apologize. Please feel free to respectfully leave your comments and opinions below, and any blatant hate will be removed, so please remember to be kind. I don't know how this works, but maybe you should consider liking and subscribing. Ha ha ha, just kidding. Ha ha ha, unless